Hi, this is Coach Chan from Uppercut Martial Arts Studio. Today's video, we are talking about the part 2 for white yellow belt or Coup 9 technical explanation. So the previous part 1, I was explaining how to train your L stand and also how to remember the steps while performing Chun Ji. So to recap, L stand is making a letter shape L, lead leg slide forward, sit on the back leg with 70% of your body weight and face forward half body facing. So this is L stand. The second one will be the formula for Chun Ji, which is turn left, block, forward punch, and follow your punching hand, turn back, block, forward punch. Repeat 4 times. The first 2 times being 2 techniques: low block, center punch, walking stand. The last 2 repeat will be inner forearm block L stand with center punch, walking stand. And after you've completed 4 times, you will add 3 punches, 1 stepping forward and 2 stepping backwards. And that is how you perform Chun Ji. Now, before I move on to the 12 techniques prep for white yellow belt students, in order for them to advance towards yellow belt, I would like to explain a bit on executing Chun Ji. Now, in white belt pattern, Sajo Jirugi and Sajo Maki, I did not mention this because those are basic steps. But when you start your first pattern, you should learn to use the momentum of your body turning motion to create additional power other than using your normal sine wave. Which means, in the formula, left block, from here onwards, you will need to start focusing on tensing your body and acting as a core. You start turning your hip first to create that momentum in order for your body to have more power. For your arms to execute with more power. So I put away my glass because whenever I perform this motion, my glasses will fly off. So slow-mo, down, up, look at where you're going and throw your body weight to the side with the hip first, hip, body, hand. So this whole action is actually the similar way of doing boxing. When you're doing boxing, you do not just stretch your hand, you are turning your hip to throw that punch from hip turning reaction. So this training, especially for Chun Ji, which is very important, is you have to start turning your hip, all right? Especially the turn back part. So turn left block, forward punch. From here, also you have a little slight hip action. Turn back block. Now from this angle, you will need to speed up in order to create forward punch. And so on. So this turning left and turning back actions, you will need to focus on first, getting your stance correct. Getting your stance ready. Second, inject this speed while you are stepping. So it takes a while to get familiar with this motion because normal beginners will have difficulties on controlling your body parts to move as you wish. That is why we have training. Training for martial art is think less, do more. And the more you do, it will become a muscle memory which is what you call a experience that you can record, then you can think. If you start thinking, your action will always be slower than others. If you move first, think later, then you will start to feel. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain, because it's not easy to explain this to somebody that hasn't touched martial art before. You have to train to become a subconscious movement, then you have a memory, then you can recall, then you can strategize. If you do it the other way around, you always get stuck, your action will always be slow, and you can't really feel what you're doing. Everything you do is in your mind, not your body. So it's totally different thing. So I hope you understand what to do next. Once you know the steps of your pattern, you start to practice your hip, execution of the technique, breathing and stance, then you're on the way to become a world champion. Alright, so back to the main topic, which is the 12 techniques for white yellow belt. I devised 12 techniques, which I explained in the first white belt part 1 video before. I always teach the technique, get you ready for your next pattern. So all these techniques is the technique that you use for the next pattern, which is called Taekwon-Do. Taekwon-Do is a yellow belt pattern, which have 21 steps. So this 12 techniques is, some of them is part of the techniques for that pattern. All right. So the first one is lower knife hand, walking stand. This one you already know because it's being shown in white belt Sajo Maki. The second one is inner forearm block, cross under, walking stand. It's also shown in Sajo Maki. So the third one is the technique for yellow belt. I do these techniques first because we are still performing walking stand. So the first thing is to show you the whole set. Lower and raising block, same arm for one step walking stand. Again. So I show you from the side. Now, to train the whole motion, I usually teach my students to break the technique into different groups. If you learn fast, maybe 2 groups. If you need a bit more time to train, you break into 3 groups or 4 groups. It depends on the complexity to that individual. So the first one I would teach is actually walking stand and learning how to push your body weight forward by pushing, raising your heel. Then your body will automatically raise forward. Then you come back down. See that? It's very simple. But when you try to do it with the arm techniques, it's a bit confusing because you do not think that whole action as one. You will always think that whole action as separate compartment. So that's why you break into a group and slowly practice. It's like a puzzle, merge them together and become one action. So once you do this, you start practicing low block. When you push your body forward, cross hand. Then when your body goes back, perform raising block. Low block, push your body forward, cross hand. Now at the same time, don't bend your knees. Keep your knees straight. If you bend your knees, your body is not moving forward. Okay, push forward, raising block. Hands lower and raising block, walking stand, which is one of the techniques for Taekwon-Do, yellow belt. Now, after this technique, we'll go by number 4, which is inner forearm block, L stand. Now this technique is actually in Chunji, but for beginners to learn L stand is a bit confusing at first because you already have so many techniques for white belt. So that's why I put all these techniques, group them together, and they can keep on practicing, mixing with some yellow belt techniques and move on. So The fourth technique is inner forearm block L stand, which I already explained, okay, on the previous video, part 1. And after inner forearm block is knife hand slash L stand. Alright, now the different part of this knife hand slash, later on when you become yellow belt, when I explain on that in that video, there is also a sitting stand knife hand slash. There is a difference, but I will explain when that part comes, okay? So this is a part of the technique for yellow belt. Knife hand slash, L stand already explained, but knife hand slash half facing is very important because most people or most beginners, they tend to slash with side facing motion. This is half facing. And the second part is, I do not encourage arm focus, arm emphasis when you execute the technique. I focus on body turning emphasis and release the arm technique later on. So the cross hand is actually right in front of the body center instead of pulling one-sided. Because the distance between the pulling arm to the waist and slashing arm is not equal. Hence, at that, with that explanation, your reaction force is interrupted. A reaction force means if I punch with my right hand, I pull with my left hand, this is reaction. If I'm punch forward without moving my left side, there's no reaction, hence your efficiency of controlling your body motion is less, is much more difficult. So knife hand slash, I will get the center point. Instead of pulling my hand back, I will turn my body and execute an L stand. At the same time, flick. Remember when I explained how you flick your hip for the pattern Chunji? It's the same concept. So that is how you increase the power using sine wave and your hip turning motion. So if you are able to achieve that, you can actually start with slow motion. Now, I always encourage new students to do slow motion because your body needs time to register. The more you do slow motion, when you speed up, they will fall back to slow motions, muscle memory. But if you just they will always think about the starting and finishing point, but in the content point, in the middle, the body does not know how to execute. Hence, the body will be like that, very stiff. Or some even do like that. So, even when I did this earlier, my whole arm is more tiring, my body did nothing. So that is not a good workout. Think about that concept, it applies to everything. So, number 6, all right, for white yellow belt technique is raising an outer forearm block, L stand. Now outer forearm block, just to show, is my hair okay? All right. Outer forearm block is eye level, and you have to make sure the wrists do not bend. So some people will bend their wrists like that. In Taekwondo, we hardly bend our wrists. Every time we punch, we block, our wrist maintains straight. And I explained before, as long as you press your body weight against the wall, your wrist will tend to get straighter because they need the support. They do not bend. This is the same similar concept. When you perform any blocks, do not bend your wrist. Okay? So for raising outer forearm block, raising block eye level, raising block, outer forearm block, this way. Now the crossing hand is the same as twin side block and knife hand slash in the center, but you have to spread it out. Now watch this action. You have to split out equally, and the explosion of energy is split, charge forward. All right. If your body is just hand motion, you can obviously see it in your students, or when you're training, your arm gets more tired than your body. So learn how to throw, that movement, cross, body, turn, cross, body, turn, down, sine wave, up, sit down, raising, outer forearm block, half facing. If you have a form of a mirror, you can check your posture from the side. raising out of forearm block. Now, one more thing, I always forget about this point. When you want to check whether your posture is correct, make sure your arm and your feet is aligned. You can't see it, but sometimes you can use the wall to feel it. Alright, I'm touching. Then more or less you get a better guideline how far you want to reach your hand forward and your stance. The stance is fixed. You do not need to adjust. Your hand can adjust because when you see students doing short action, it looks really weird. That means the person can attack them successfully. They will be hitting themselves. They can't catch the force. They have to raise it out some more, all right, so that it go against the incoming attack force and take it easily. All right, it's the same concept of the tank's outer shell. They have explosive on that outer shell to go against incoming missiles. All right, so it's the same similar concept. What next? After raising outer forearm block is 7, which is knife hand guarding block L stand. For knife hand guarding block L stand, there's no cross hand. You just throw your hand back, one towards close to the face, one's higher, all right, and one out, one towards the solar plex, protect it. This is the block. Now remember, I explained before, knife hand is to attack using the side of the hammer fist, this part, all right. So from here, turn half facing, ready to land forward, raise your arm, then sit down on the back leg, half facing, control, and don't bend your wrist, make sure straight, eye level, don't spread your fingers. This is a fork, this is not a knife, all right. Remember the motion, do it slowly a couple of times, all right. The half facing is very important because you feel that you have strength to push your knife hand more compared to side facing. So this is very important. Then you slowly add speed to practice your whole motion as one feeling. Then full power when you are ready. Slow fast action, sine wave, down, up, down. All right, so this is number 7. And number 8 is actually not much different to number 7. It's actually guarding block. Instead of knife hand, you use a fist. Guarding block is just a form to show that you're ready to defend yourself, okay? Then the next, sorry, let me recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 L stand, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So there's 4 more which involve kicking. Now kicking for white yellow belt is to rehearse the kicking technique from white belt. Why are we doing that? Because we are doing double kicks. All right, except for one, which is a new kicks. Kicks are not included in yellow belt pattern yet. You only start kicking in your pattern for yellow green belt pattern, Tosan. So the first kicking technique is different leg, coordination, front kick and turning kick. Always start with a guarding block. Now from white belt, we always start with twin side block walking stand before you start kicking. But when you advance to white yellow belt, you will perform guarding block to initiate your kicking technique. So the first one is front kick, control balance, you have to keep your body straight, then turning kick, landing forward, guarding block. So front kick, turning kick, different leg. It's not really about the kicking, it's about how you control the motion. So you have time to prepare, breathe in and execute because your body weight is not throwing forward. A lot of beginners, when they kick, they throw their weight forward, hence causing them do not have time to get ready for the next step. So when you're training this technique, you have to make sure you're standing and controlling your body weight in the center. Then you're controlling. Instead of throwing your weight forward, see, the continuation of this momentum will cause your body weight to throw forward. Then you have less control of your motion. All right, this is very important, especially when you reach senior belt like blue belt, green belt technique for pattern. If you do not understand this concept, you will not be able to perform green belt pattern, which is called 1U. Okay, so the second, which is number 10 technique, is front kick and side kick. The difference is just turning kick. Front kick, side kick. Alright, very simple. The third one is a combination of turning kick and side kick. You can do side kick and turning kick, it doesn't matter, but I like to use side kick as a finishing kick. Turning kick, side kick. Now, when we perform this technique in the test, the examiner will pay a particular attention to your side kick recoil action. If your side kick is too fast and does not show that recoil action too much, it actually shows that your understanding of power control is not that good. Alright, so for example, recoil here. Then you show how you understand kicking power. Alright, and that is 11. The last one is a new kicking technique where I also developed a way for the beginners to remember how to execute. It's back kick. Alright, back kick, of course, is kicking with the back leg. So the formula, if your left leg, my left leg is at the back, turn left and kick with the left leg. Back leg at the back, or left leg at the back, turn left, kick left, 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 left. Right leg at the back, turn right, kick right, 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 right. That's how you execute back kick. So if you cannot remember this formula, it's very simple. Look at your back leg. Continue looking in the same direction, but in this way, pivot your ball of the foot until the heels is pointing forward. Then you keep turning. Your legs are free to move. Then once you kind of can see in front, raise your leg and make sure you have achieved half facing, not side facing. You need half facing. Then perform your side kick. Then land forward, guarding block. Now this is back kick. Now some people try many times but still cannot achieve this because their L stand is wide. When their L stand is wrong, look at this. I'm looking at you here, but I can't see you at all when I turn because the stand is too big. You have to make sure the gap is 2.5 cm. Then it's almost straight line. When I turn, look, balance, kick, land forward, guarding block. And once you understand the concept, freestyle wise, back kick. So it takes a bit of training on controlling that spin, and after you kick, how you land casually performing your guarding block L stand. So that is the target. So here are all the 12 techniques for white yellow belt when they are going for a test to get their yellow belt. So I hope the details explanation of this video for the technique for white yellow belt, Cook 9, is sufficient for you. If you have any question, please leave your comment on the post. So please post your comment at the bottom. Feel free to like, share and subscribe to my channel. I see you next part 3, which is 3-step sparring for white yellow belt. So thank you. Bye bye.